Hi guys. I'm going to be talking to you today about a couple that I had the blessing of interviewing, Senad and Vokica Serovic, and they are a Bosnian and Serbian or Orthodox couple. He is a former Muslim and she's Orthodox, so their marriage is a mixed marriage, and they both grew up in the city of Sarajevo. And they have a very compelling story. And since I have 5 minutes, I have to go as fast as I can. In Bosnian culture, it's largely a folk Islamic culture, and now that's changed secondary to the war in the early 90s. And in Orthodox culture, it's largely extremely nominal, quote-unquote, Christian culture. And these two cultures met in the city of Sarajevo, and the war between the Serbians and the Bosnians was a brutal war. Over 150,000 people were killed. And this couple met right prior to the war, and they both came to faith in Christ in the middle of this war through a missionary family that had become resident there and was meeting human needs in the middle of this war, with doing surgeries and meeting physical needs, and it was just a compelling ministry. And from that ministry, Senad came to faith, started working with this missionary family. His faith became very robust, and their marriage witness was very strong, and they started reaching out, doing some church planting in the area. And so let me tell you a little bit about the four main areas that I want you to hear in this section here. It's family structure, religion, social and economic perspectives that we want to look at. And all of these areas are strained and stressed in the middle of wartime mentality, wartime world. And so in the family, Senad comes from a family that traditionally is run and ruled by men. But in this family, his father left him early on in life, and they divorced the family, but yet he continued living in the community, which then continued to bring great shame and everything on the family. And so he grew up, he had to take care of his own family, taking the role of the oldest son, and really for the most part taking the role of the main breadwinner. And so he started working early. He didn't have a chance to go to college, and and it was kind of interesting because his gift set, he's really a leader. He's a big guy, a big leading kind of athlete kind of guy. And so he took over to take care of the family. And then the war broke out in the early 1990s, and he was injured in the war. He was driving an ambulance going back and forth to the front lines. He was injured, and then he just destroyed his leg. And he also has this physical disease that keeps his body from healing. His immunity system is so bad that it keeps his body from healing. And so it just story after story of great suffering, many of which the little narratives that he shared was just over and over and over again about growing up in a poor area, but an improving economy, largely a capitalistic / socialistic economy. But with the war, everything imploded. Many people were killed. Death was rampant, and you had to fend for yourself. He told me that one of his main jobs during the war to take care of his family was to sell cigarettes. And as someone who, I raised my family in Afghanistan. I was there for 12 years, and some of those stories kind of reminded me of that. And but Senad and his wife Vokica are just a humble, sweet, very godly example of international people or local people coming to faith and having just a transformed witness around them. And they're a witness to their own family, his own brother and his mother especially, and the local Bosnian culture there. After immigrating to the United States, they moved to Queens, New York. And in this area where they moved to, it is an area rich in Bosnian or Muslim community, but she's Orthodox, so they persecuted his wife. And secondary to that, they moved down to here in South Carolina, where I live, And now they're members of a local church in a thriving community, and they're reaching out to the internationals here, and it's just an amazing thing. So in this story, you have a couple that comes to faith, a Bosnian Orthodox joint or mixed marriage comes to faith. They become transformed, become a witness to the watching world there in Sarajevo, and then come back here to do interviews for guys like us. And it's a great witness and a very humble witness. They are not typical Bosnian Orthodox couple. Largely nowadays, the fundamentalism is seeping into that part of the world, and it's changing the culture, and it's becoming more fundamentalist like it is in Turkey and the rest of the Central Asian area. So, good. Here we go. Thanks a lot. Appreciate your time.